Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Soumya Mittal. I'm a neurologist and today I'll be talking to you about Parkinsonism in the COVID-19 era. Parkinsonism is a disease which commonly affects the elderly citizens of the population. It can affect the young, but more commonly the elderly citizens are affected. The problem with Parkinsonism is that the features, the clinical features of the disease are commonly attributed to the age, and therefore people do not turn up to the doctors for the evaluation of this disease. So first and foremost today I'll be talking about the symptoms. The commonest symptoms are difficulty in walking. The people have a very slow walk, which is called as bradykinesia. They have a very stiff gait. They are not able to walk comfortably, which is called rigidity. And they've got tremors. It's abnormal shaking of the hands. The shaking can also affect the legs, but it is more common in the upper limbs. The other symptoms and other signs, like the person has a stooped gait, he has a stooped posture, as you can see in this diagram. There are other symptoms like loss of smell, difficulty in writing, the handwriting changes, it becomes small. There are sleep problems. There are problems with constipation, there are voice changes. So these symptoms are commonly divided into motor symptoms and non-motor symptoms. Motor symptoms are to do with the muscles. Anything which has to do with muscles is classified into the motor symptoms. It commonly includes resting tremors, bradykinesia and rigidity, as I've already talked about, and postural instability, which is an imbalance when the person stands. Non-motor symptoms include hyposmia, problems like depression, anxiety, psychosis, hallucination, impulse control disorders, and even apathy. There are cognitive impairments like confusion, dementia, and impaired memory problems. It could be because of the age of these people. There might be what are known as autonomic disorders, which include urinary problems, gastrointestinal problems, and blood pressure related problems. We'll get to that later. And of course, sleep disorders. Motor symptoms are the commonest features, and these are not recognized by most of the population. Non-motor symptoms are also quite common, and again they are not recognized by the population. Now these people are elderly and they have comorbidities. There are other diseases which come with the age. So hypertension, diabetes, osteoporosis, strokes, heart issues, and peptic ulcer disease are some of the common problems which are also affecting these people. Today I'll be talking about some of the maneuvers, some of the non-pharmacological ways in which you can control your symptoms, which can help you live more comfortably. So first and foremost, I'll be talking about the motor symptoms. As I said, the motor symptoms are rigidity, tremors, difficulty in walking, gait issues. So some of the common ways in which you can help yourself are exercises like the aerobic exercises, balance training, dancing, yoga, tai chi, gait training, treadmill exercises. So these are some of the ways which can help you, but it has to be taken slowly. One has to be comfortable with what he is doing. If you are already very slow, it is not useful to get up on a treadmill and try to walk. You will have a tendency to fall. So one needs to be very sure what he can do. And taking care of your meals is also important. You should always have a well-balanced meal. Not only would that help in maintaining your muscular structure, but it would also help in maintaining a good immunity, which is also very important in the current era. Now I'll be coming to some non-motor symptoms. The first and foremost is constipation. Now why constipation is significant? Not just because it will cause some abdominal symptoms like pain and discomfort, but it also impairs the absorption of the medicines. So that is something which should not be acceptable. So some of the common ways, non-pharmacological ways in which you can control constipation are having a good fluid intake. You should have a fluid intake of at least 2 to 3 liters. There should be a good diet in which the fiber component should be good, it should be significant, and you can have a good intake of vegetables, fruits, oats, green leafy vegetables. These are the common ways in common foods which will help you have a high fiber diet. Probiotics like curds, buttermilk should also be helpful. Increase your physical activity, exercises and yoga is very important. Privacy and comfort during defecation is important. People who have Parkinsonism are elderly, they have a tendency to fall. So lots of people try not to lock the doors, but the privacy is hampered and people are not comfortable. So our constipation results secondary to that. Therefore, primary important condition should be privacy and comfort should be maintained. Positioning in the toilet is important. You should maintain a footrest or a stool below your feet so that the knees are above the hip level. So that helps in a faster evacuation of the bowels. So that is one of the significant ways which one can try. Manual removal is a final option, but it is not comfortable to most of the patients. So positioning on the toilet is something one can always think about. Urinary incontinence is another problem the people face. They have urinary frequency in which they have to go frequently to the bathroom, and there's incontinence in which they manage to pass the urine when they don't want to. So first and foremost, avoid coffee and tea and soft drinks, avoid those beverages, and avoid constipation. Even after that, if you have a problem, make sure you do not have a urinary tract infection or a prostate issue. These conditions mimic urinary incontinence, so they should be ruled out. Orthostatic hypertension is a condition in which the blood pressure falls. The blood pressure always falls when one stands from a lying down position, but it falls for a limited period of time. In these people, the blood pressure fall is either much more than what is normal or it is prolonged. In both the conditions, one has dizziness, headache and fainting spells. They look pale, there's sweating and fever-like episodes. There will be a short and shallow breathing. Diarrhea and vomiting might be present. A person might have a feeling of irregular heartbeats. If the blood pressure is too low, one might even feel and develop seizures. Depression and fatigue are common when this happens. So what are the simple maneuvers? Head up tilt during sleep is a common maneuver in which we just manage to keep the head and the upper part of the body slightly raised. So when they get up from this lying down position, the drop is not that significant. Increased salt intake is very important, but since they are elderly, the blood pressure should be monitored and the salt intake should be taken accordingly. Exercise is important, as we have already talked about. Maneuvers like crossing your legs and bending forwards also help in maintaining a blood pressure. Elastic stockings are very useful. They help pump your blood from the lower limbs to the body. So thigh length elastic stockings are important. Abdominal binders are another way in which the blood pressure can be maintained. What needs to be avoided is a sudden change in the position. One should not have a sudden head up position. You should not have a prolonged lying down period, and I would try to avoid warm and hot climates. Some medicines do cause hypertension, so one needs to be careful, and one needs to discuss these drugs with the prescribing doctor. Now, these people have a lot of falls. Parkinson's people, they have lots of falls due to many of the reasons, like fall of the blood pressure, difficulty in walking. So one needs to be very, very careful when they're walking. So some of the common ways in which one can avoid the falls is that one can keep his or her feet apart when they are standing. People with Parkinsonism have a short and shuffling gait. The steps are very small, so one needs to make a conscious effort and lift the feet up well. When they are turning, try to turn in a broad space, do not try to turn in a narrow space, and make a wide turn. Try not to make an immediate short turn. Long strides and swinging of the arm consciously would be helpful. The footwear should be comfortable, and it should not you should be not walk you should not be walking on a slippery surface. Try to avoid extra pieces of furniture, extra pieces of things which are lying around on the floor. The more clear the floor area is, the better your gait would be. It is also important that a person with Parkinson's does not rush to things. Say supposing there is a bell which has rung or there is a phone which is ringing, they should not rush to open the door or pick up a phone. They should take their time, and they should not be distracted by anything else when they are walking. Falls is very common with these people, and it should be avoided because at that age, if they fall, they can develop a fracture, and unfortunately fracture does not heal very well at that age. So the prevention of falls is the best measure that one can take. Another problem with walking is freezing. Now, what is freezing? Freezing is a condition in which the person tries to walk but is not able to take the first few steps comfortably. After he takes one or two steps comfortably, the patient is gradually able to walk more comfortably. That is freezing. Now, how does one manage to control it? I'll just give a few examples in which you can try, and you may be able to walk more comfortably. So alter the distribution of your body weight. Try to keep your body weight slightly to the front, so that would help you in walking better. Consciously lift your legs high when you're walking. Try to use a torch or a flashlight on the floor. The beam of light will produce a circle of light. Try to walk on those circles, so that might help you walk faster. A similar ways, you can make some lines on the floor, and you can try to walk between those lines as has been depicted in one of the pictures here. So when you try to walk through the lines, it helps you walk faster, and it helps you gain your momentum more easily. There's no shame in using a walking stick. So if you feel that you might have a fall, it is always easy to use an L-shaped cane. Excess salivation is another problem. So one of the easiest ways is having what we call as a double swallowing technique. Say supposing you have a bolus of food in the mouth or a sip of water in the mouth, you swallow once and then immediately swallow again. Now this is called a double swallowing technique, and it helps in clearing the mouth of the saliva faster. So that is called double swallowing technique. Now this is a part of what we call the motor symptoms and a few of the non-motor symptoms. I'll be talking about the next part of it in the second video. Please have a look at the description for the link to the second part of this video. Thank you for a patient hearing.